I think the coolest thing to me has become that people have started planning their weeks around Friday night dinners, where they will
Who
make
says you?
sure.
So
Yes.
I don't know that they've explicitly said that.
No, but they would, like, intentionally do date nights other nights, or they would intentionally do activities other nights to leave their Friday night open for
Mhm.
Friday night dinners. Hey, One Degree fam. I'm Nathaniel.
And I'm Zan, and this is the One Degree Podcast, where we talk about what it looks like to be married as followers of Jesus.
Look, we know that life gets full. Marriage, kids, work, church, sports, the list goes on and on. But we believe that a thriving marriage does not happen by accident.
Each episode will give you real conversations, practical tools, and biblical encouragement to help you connect deeply with your spouse and live on mission together.
So, whether you're folding laundry, driving to work, or maybe even working out, we're glad you're here with us.
Let's dive in.
What is up, 1 Degree fam?
What is up, fam? Welcome back to the comfy, cozy, virtual leather couch. So happy that you are joining us today.
We're talking about something that has been really fun and that we're excited to hopefully inspire you to implement today.
Yes, and this actually kind of stems. So, Zan recently saw a social media post.
What I don't know what we're talking about.
Remember
Oh, yeah.
why don't you share what it was?
Okay, I forgot that's how we decided on this. We were driving to church on Sunday and I was talking about it. So I saw what I assume is a carousel post. I think I actually saw it on Threads, which is random. I don't go on there, but so it was basically things my mom did when I was younger, when she was hosting, essentially, was the premise. I think I get the vibe that this account was like a hospitality account. And then they were like, okay, here's how my mom inspired that. And it was like, oh, she didn't even call it hosting. She called it having friends over. But some of the things were relatable. Like it went through like having a conversation starter for the whole table. It was also things like having a pitcher of water always available. That's also maybe relatable. That's good.
But it
Just like have stuff. But she also had she always had table settings, like table markers for everyone. So everyone knew where to sit. She never talked about what went wrong in the kitchen. I'm trying to think of the example.
she
Always
always
had a
made sure.
drink within somebody's hand within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Those kind of things where it's much more what you think about with like cultural quintessential hosting and hospitality versus what we like to talk about from a Christian perspective of hospitality
Yeah.
and fellowship. So
And
that got me, yeah, go ahead.
oh, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was just gonna say I had brought that up to him of like, man, the like achiever in me would think that that needed to be the standard, generally speaking. Like
Hmm.
if I like that is how I would want to host, I think in my like truest, well, maybe like my fleshliest self of like I need if it's not gonna be like that, then like I'm not gonna do it. But I feel like I have in our marriage, especially like hospitality has been such a thing that we've wanted to prioritize from day one. Even when we had like a little seminary apartment, we just wanted people to be in it. And I just view home so highly. Like that is what I care about the most in life is like having a home that I want people to come into. It's not necessarily about like if you saw our home, it's not that it's anything special. It's just that I'd rather invest in making our home a place that I want people to be than I want to invest in going on vacations or whatever it is. So that's just like a core theme. And so I was like, man, that could have hindered me, but because of all of the like whittling away at that through the course of our marriage, honestly, I feel like we have gotten to see so much fruit from hospitality, from having different standards. And I was like, not just different standards, but like a totally different paradigm for what hospitality is. And I was like, let's talk about our Friday night dinner. Spoiler alert, that's what we're getting.
Yeah, hopefully from this episode, you'll be encouraged to do one of two things. The first one we would say is, and this is a sneak peek at our 1 degree shift, but is to invite friends over for a regular standing weekly or monthly, if weekly doesn't feel
Yeah.
comfortable to you, just a regular standing meal.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one would be if, that isn't up your alley, it would be what is something that you have always wanted to pursue, but the fear, whether it be the
Mm-hmm.
fear of being inadequate, the fear of being awkward, or the fear of rejection is preventing you from pursuing it. What does it look like to go and to pursue that thing because Zan and I were talking about with this social media post, and like she said, there was a lot of good around it, you know? One of them was always trying to make sure that the
Oh, the
the
shyest
quietest or shyest
person
person
felt the most
always
seen.
felt the most seen, you know, and that's a good thing, and we should aspire to that. But other aspects about that post are reasons why people
Mhm.
don't host or don't have, you know, people in their house very often because they have this idea of this standard of, "Oh, I've gotta make sure that everyone has their drinks in their hand within the first 5
And
minutes.
the
I've gotta have the table settings and people know where to sit," and all of that kinda stuff, and often what that does, it just reminds me again, and it's not as if this post I'm not trying to rag on this person,
I literally have no idea who posted
who
it.
they
Like,
are,
I haven't seen it since.
but it reminds me of that idea of Martha, you know, and I know that's that biblical example, but Mary and Martha, where Mary is just sitting, enjoying the teaching of Jesus, being with Jesus, and Martha is running around doing the what would be considered the hospitable thing as we
Mhm.
think of hospitality. And she was just completely missing the teachings of Jesus, completely missing being in his presence. And I think oftentimes when we think of hospitality in Western culture, we do the same exact thing where we're so worried about just meeting needs or cleaning up or all of these kind of things that ultimately don't really matter in the moment that we miss out on the friendships or the community or the camaraderie that is going on in the moment. And so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit because, and a little bit of background to this, about a year ago now, Zan and I were talking and we were like, "Man, we love bringing people together and we love bringing people into our house." And we were saying how cool it would be to just basically invite a whole bunch of friends for a regular standing meal. We wanted to do it on Friday nights because it would be a great kick off to the weekend, but it was also for us Saturday is more of our Sabbath and that's
Mhm.
when we rest and we thought it would be a great way to kick off kind of the Sabbath. Hold on
That's
one second.
what we called it from the beginning was the Sabbath Kickoff Dinner.
Yeah.
It was this idea of like, okay, we're really big about Friday night Friday at sundown to Saturday at sundown being our time of rest and family and friends and enjoyment and all of those things. And it's like, why not kick that off with friends? I mean, there's obviously biblical
Yeah,
Torah, like Old Testament roots to that, the Seder dinner. But Seder, right?
I think so.
I think the Seder dinner was I'm like, "Okay, is it Passover?" That's not related to Pass I don't know, whatever. It's the dinner they had a meal. That was how they, like, kicked off their Sabbath, the Old Testament Jews. But
I don't know if that was I think Seder is Passover, but I'm not
that's what I'm saying.
positive.
I'm crossing
Yeah,
things, but there is a Shabbat,
Shabbat.
the Shabbat dinner. That's what I was like,
Shabbat.
Seder is anyway, we weren't trying to make it or we weren't, like we're not getting into theology of whether we hold to that and all of that kind of thing because it wasn't that deep for us as much as, like, "Hey, we do practice this 24 hours of rest. Let's kick it off with the dinner."
Yeah, and for us, we kind of came back to this idea, at least initially, of, "Oh, man, our house just isn't the best for hosting people," and
In the sense of just, like, we don't have a basement where all the kids can 1, it's freezing here half the year. So that's the biggest thing. 2, when it is sunny, we don't have, like, a fenced-in yard or anything. We have a lake, actually, as our backyard, and that's dangerous with little children. It's, like, sounds fun, but it's not fun with little kids of, like, other people's little kids. So, I just want everyone says their house isn't for hosting, and I'm not trying to say, like, ours really isn't for hosting, but, like, what do we mean by that? That's kinda what I'm trying to
yeah, I
say.
was gonna go into that, but
Okay, go ahead.
so I was just our house isn't really conducive to hosting. There's not a lot of room. There isn't like a really big playroom or basement like Zan was saying. The outdoors, it's nice when it's sunny, but it still isn't the most conducive to hosting, especially people with little kids, which a lot of our friends have little kids. So we were just talking about how, oh man, this would be amazing, something that we would do in our next house or something that we would want to prioritize doing in our next house. But then we came back to this of you can always have excuses for why now doesn't why it won't work, you know? "Oh, if this was better, then we would do it." Whether it comes to hosting, whether it comes to giving, whether it comes to working out, you know, there can always be reasons that you can find why not to do something, but we were just like, "Okay, if this is something that has been placed on our hearts, let's pursue it and let's see what happens." And yes, I know it's not the best, but doing something is better than nothing, and let's try to implement this right now. And that's kind of it also came back to this idea of pursuing faithfulness in the little of if you are entrusted with a little bit, what does it look like to pursue faithfulness with it. And so with the house that we do have, with what we were given, and it's less so about the house and more so about the community and the friends and bringing everyone together. And that's what it's been about. And honestly, I could have never expected it to be as good as it has become.
Mhm.
I didn't know if you were gonna jump in and say or add anything.
Yeah, I would say so I wanna kinda paint because we've kinda skirted around it, like, what are we actually doing?
Yeah.
So every Friday night, it started with, I don't even know how many families. It's primarily people local to us, so it's not just people in our church,
Mm,
because our church is at we've talked about this before, our church is actually 20 minutes away, and so we started with just, like, how can we bring the people from different pockets, so they didn't necessarily all know each other.
mhm.
That's something we like about it. It's like, okay, well, we know them all, but they don't necessarily know each other. And it also has grown to be where people that come invite people and we get to know them.
Yeah.
Like they're new to us. And we basically, when we first pitched it, I guess, we sent out texts to individuals. We didn't like put them all in a group text right away. We sent out texts and we said, like, hey, we have this vision. Basically, probably didn't even use that. That sounds bigger. Like, we just want to start having this standing dinner. Just as a time, I remember we said to be unplugged, like, no phones, like, having it just be this, like, chill, play outside, have community or have conversations inside, have a dinner, like, we'll serve dinner. People can bring something if they want, but there's no pressure to, like, have to have something if you wanna show up. Like, we didn't set the standard of it being a potluck where, like,
Yeah.
come if you have something. Um, and that's kinda how we set it, starting about this time last year, I
Yep.
would say, maybe a couple weeks from now. But we basically had it every Friday with the exception of, like, oh, we're out of town or, yeah, it's just pretty much it's been pretty consistently every Friday, and then we did switch it to Saturday for
Months.
2 months while we had basketball practices on Friday for the kids, but, um and I will say, as a side note, we really enjoy having it back on Fridays
Fridays.
because, like we said, we do take that day of rest, and so for me, as much as this has become something really chill and, like, we're gonna talk like, we've kinda talked about and are gonna talk about, like, the standards are not high where I'm feeling like, "Oh, it's all this pressure to perform." It still was something on my head of, like, all Saturday, it's like, "Oh, well, I do wanna clean." Like, I like having the house clean.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to perform for people, but, like, I want it to be tidied up, and so Saturday didn't feel as restful to have a bunch of people coming over at the end of the Sabbath because, yeah, mentally, I wasn't Sabbathing, and so, anyway, what it looks like is we'll decide a meal. Um, I think part of it is just keeping that low key. Like, we did in the beginning, we did some brats. I'm thinking for
Yeah.
practicals, like, summer food's easier, especially when you're cooking for a crowd. You can do barbecue, that kinda thing is just, like, easier.
A
But
lot of soups and crock pot
soups
meals.
and crock pot meals got us through the winter. Um, pasta pasta
Mm.
with meat sauce, like, that's something you can just, like, make in big bulk, and it's, like, still can be
It's not like
nutritious.
this elaborate dinner that we're putting together every
And
time.
I, in the beginning, I remember for the first few weeks, I was like, "Okay, well, we had pasta 3 weeks ago, so I don't wanna do that again." And it's like, "Okay, even if we serve the exact same meal." I remember our friends that hosted a
Yeah.
small group in a different era of life. I remember they said that they did Taco Tuesday their small group was on Tuesday, and they did tacos every single week.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Okay, well, the people coming are still only eating that once a
Once a
week."
week.
You know, it's like, that's still normal.
Yep.
Like, we don't have to change it up. So even if you order pizza every single time or do all the take and bake pizzas every single
Yeah.
time, like, don't let the food be the barrier to entry. Some people love that aspect of it, and
Mhm.
I do love cooking, and so I do love trying stuff, but sometimes I'm just tired, and when Friday comes, I'm just not feeling that aspect, and so those are the pasta nights, or we've done pizza
Yeah.
before, those
There's a
kind of
lot of
things.
different things that we've done, but don't let kind of this expectation that the food needs to be extravagant because the whole thing about it is that it's not this super extravagant meal
Yeah,
and it's not all of these planned activities. The goal is to just come and be together. I'll usually ask people, and so Zan kind of brought the meal. We usually do the main meal. We have people that always bring the drinks every single week. They bring it in
they
a
bring the
cool
Packers
Packers
cooler.
cooler. So the joke has become like even if they're not here, as long as the Packers
Send the
cooler is
Packers
here,
cooler.
yeah, that's all that we need. And usually there's another couple that always brings fruit every week, and it's actually
Mhm,
really good. There's usually another couple that always brings desserts. So typically,
mhm.
it'll be about 12 adults total and
Yeah.
17 kids under the age of 6 and under, and so it's
Yeah,
usually
like,
kind of what it's.
significantly under.
Yes, and so that's usually so it is absolute chaos. It is.
It is. I basically one of our friends that comes, she's like, "I just don't know how you handle it. Like, how are you not going crazy?" And I was like, "I have to just forget about the mess that's being created while it's happening and just once the kid Nathaniel pretty much puts the kids to bed every time, every Friday night, everyone leaves, and I just put a podcast in and clean up. Like, you don't wanna think about it actively while
Yeah,
it's happening. It's like, just let it happen, and then you can clean it up later.
and enjoy the moment,
Yeah,
and it.
because I am a Martha by nature.
Yeah,
Like, Martha feels honorable to me to be doing all those things. And so I've had to, like, channel my Mary of like, I just don't care. Just, like, get the pasta sauce all over the couch, and I'll use the little green machine later."
yeah, and so typically it'll like, we'll host a meal, people come in, we'll eat. Then it'll just be people will be talking, chilling, the kids will be all playing together. In the winter, it's inside a lot of times. This last week, it was nice outside, so we were outside with the kids a lot, and a lot of times, I'll always ask the people I'm around what their high-low buffalo of the week was,
Mhm.
and that's just how we start the conversation, and it's just really good conversation, and I think the coolest thing to me has become that people have started planning their weeks around Friday night dinners, where they will
Or
make
seem
sure.
so.
Yes.
I don't know that they've explicitly said that.
No, but they would, like, intentionally do date nights other nights, or they would intentionally do activities other nights to leave their Friday night open for
Mhm.
Friday night dinners.
Well, what it feels weird to, like, say the feedback we've gotten, but something that they've talked about, people we've talked about at these is, like, the kids go home, like, the kids look forward to it.
Yeah,
Sometimes we would wanna cancel, and probably other parents would, like, want to cancel social interaction. Like, sometimes, like,
yeah,
if all the adults have had a long work week, but the kids look forward to it, and it's also so good for them to just, like, be together and get energy out, and they are all like, "Our kids sleep so great on Friday nights," It's like, that part of it is such a added benefit of,
yeah,
like, these kids are gonna grow up. That's something I have been reflecting on lately. I feel like our kids it's so normal for them to talk to adults, and it was
yeah,
not like I was scared of talking to adults
yeah,
to some degree as a child. And it's like, we didn't try to, like, make that happen. I
mhm,
haven't taught them how to talk to adults. They're just, like, always around adults because
yeah.
we've always had adults in our house. And I think that's just an added benefit of having open doors on your home.
Yeah, no, for sure. And so I think that we don't have to go into it too much more, but hopefully in this you are being encouraged and inspired a little bit that for us, I remember there was a wall that wasn't painted for 6 months. There is still
There's still spackle on nearly every wall in our house. That's like,
there
we're gonna get to it one day.
if you're watching this on video, this little fireplace in the back
There is
that I'm kind
a
of
dish
pointing to.
towel shoved into a
Uh,
brick that has been missing since we moved into this house almost 4 years ago
yes.
because we just haven't
And
decided what to
part of
do.
that's on us. Like
Yeah, for
we need
sure.
to
We're
get it
not
done.
saying don't maintain your house.
But what we're saying is don't let this idea of I've got to have the perfect house, I've got to have the perfect meal, I've got to have the perfect hosting routine prevent you from having people in your house. Because I will say, going back to what Zan was saying about kind of a little bit of the feedback, it's not just that the kids love it. So many people have told us like this feels like genuine community and just being together and
Mhm.
just talking and hanging out. And it's a regular standing Friday night where they know like, oh, if it's been a crazy week or a long week or they're out of town,
It's a
like they're
meal
not
that
gonna
they have to
make
deal
it.
with. Oh,
No,
fine.
they're not gonna make it, but there's gonna be one next week. There's
Yeah,
not this FOMO all the time
yeah,
of, oh shoot, I need to just push through and make it. We've had people back out because something came up and all that kind of stuff. So there's not this pressure of you have to be there, but it's genuinely meant to serve the people and the friends that we know. And I think that it has just been so rich and so rewarding and it is gives us something to look forward to at the end of the week every single week.
yeah. Hopefully this goes without saying, but I kinda wanna, like, put this blanket statement that this is not us saying that we have done anything special. The actual message we're trying to convey is, like, that's the point. We're not doing anything special.
Yeah.
We are simply, like, just extending the invite, and that's what we wanna encourage you to do, is
Yep.
just extend the invite. You don't have to be anything special, you don't have to have anything special, and, so often like, we don't have there would be no room for an organized
Yeah.
conversation or activity. It's chaos. It
Yep.
really is chaos most of the time. This last one was the most the least chaotic, even
It's
though there
because
were a
the
ton of kids, but
boys took all the kids outside.
yeah, like, all the guys were playing outside and all the kids or I'm saying when it was, like, co-ed inside,
Yeah,
but all the kids were playing outside because it was warmer, and they were kinda just, like, all keeping themselves, and it's like,
yeah,
"Wow, we can all have a conversation right now? This is
yeah,
crazy."
that's
But
true.
and it was, like, 7 minutes max of that. But the point is, like, this isn't us tooting our own horn and saying that we've provided
At
this
all.
amazing thing. It's saying, like, lower your expectations of what it'll be, and it will exceed your expectations.
And
Well, that sounded not just
no,
because they're low, but it will exceed what your expectations would be for something much yeah, I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
no, I get what you're trying to say, and I think I just go back to this idea that the thing that people value isn't the perfect house or the
No.
perfect meal, and so just be encouraged that if you don't have those things, you can still create authentic community. And in fact, I go back to that social media when you were talking about, oh, she never let anyone know what went wrong in the kitchen.
Oh,
Well,
yeah, when I read that, I was like, "That's
no,
not
dude.
me." I
Be
always talk about that.
because that's not real life, and I
Yeah.
go back to and I think that at the root of it, we want it to be authentic, like, authentic community, authentic time together,
Mhm.
and so we're real and we're honest of like, "Oh, yeah, the kids were melting down 5 minutes before people walked in
Or
the door."
I'll tell a story that came to my mind as soon as I saw that slide was one day we were gonna order pizza because I was like, "I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't wanna cook. Let's just order pizza." And we have our local pizza place, and then we had our backup, and neither of them were open until, like, 4:30, and people were coming at
Mhm.
5. And we're like, "Well, if we order the pizza at 4:30, like, it's not even gonna be ready in time." So, I was like, "You know what? I'll do this is at, like, 2 o'clock." I was like, "I'll order an Aldi, like, those take and bake
Yeah.
pizzas." Like, obviously not as good, but I was like, "At least they'll be here in time, and I can have them, like, hot and ready when people get here." And so I did that, and then Instacart was so de so delayed that day, and it never ca it was, like, 5:30, and they hadn't even been delivered. And so not only did we have, like, backup to the backup pizza, but we also still had it late, and everyone was here and hungry, and I was explaining all of this. So that's just an example of, like, you know what? And it didn't ruin the night.
Yeah, and I go back to that's real life, and that's
Mhm.
authenticity, and the more that we're able to be authentic with people, I go back to the more people are gonna be inspired to try to do it themselves,
Yeah, that's
you
the thing.
know?
It's like if I don't I don't want to go to somebody's house that has the perfect decorations and then they also don't want or like perfectly set up table and the meal's all a four-course dinner, but like we're worried about leaving stains or whatever.
Mhm.
It's just like it's not relaxing
Yeah,
and it's not something that inspires other people to do it like you want it to be a ripple effect of
yeah,
other people being inspired to have people in their home. Like that's the whole point of I think stewardship and fellowship in general is like to have it be a
yeah.
chain effect.
So, then that's enough of us talking 1 degree shift. I would encourage you put a weekly standing or a weekly, biweekly, monthly, whatever it is, put a standing meal with friends on the calendar and just invite people in and invite anyone that you think might be interested and
Mhm.
don't allow the fear of rejection to prevent you from inviting. There was a lot of people that we texted and there were still a lot of people that we texted that just weren't about it, that either didn't respond or that had never come or something like that. And so we didn't put them in the group chat. We let them know that it's always
Not invited to the group
no, we
chat.
let them know that it's always open for them, that they're always welcome to come, but you can kinda get that feel from the initial invite, and
I'll push back and say sometimes we've had people that it takes few
yeah, that's
invitations too.
fair,
I don't
and
want you to like read
yeah,
into it.
exactly, don't read into it or anything like that, but I would just say of, like, anyone that you think might be interested, invite them, reach out to them, and I think you'll be surprised by who might be interested and who might come. Like, for us, we were even talking beforehand, I would say that there are some people that literally come every single week that we would have never expected,
Mm.
that we would have thought, like, would have been they would have come occasionally, but, like, they have been diligent, and they've probably been the ones that have come the most and the most consistently, and we would have never expected it, and that would have surprised us if you would have told us beforehand, and so I just go back to that idea of, man, anyone that you think might be interested, just invite them into your home for genuine, authentic hospitality.
Yeah. The other thing that we don't need to start a whole nother conversation, but you did allude to it at the beginning of the episode, like if
Yeah,
that doesn't feel like your thing, I would say whatever it is, for instance, book club was something that I
yeah,
had been wanting to start. And I finally just started it. And to the point of the invitations and don't let fear of rejection, people were initially about it. And then I would say for the first like 3 months of doing a monthly book club, it was like 1 or 2 people would come every time. And it would have been really easy to be like, okay, it's just not working for moms. Like,
Yeah.
but I've continued to do it. And I mean, this last time it was like six or so people. And
Yeah.
it is hard. It's a hard, like most of my friends have babies, like newborns, and it's just hard to find a time. And we do it post bedtime. But whatever it is, just if you really want to make it happen, do it and do it consistently and don't take it personally. That's the thing I always have
Yeah.
to say. Like if people don't come to something or they're inconsistent or flaky or it's not personal.
Yep.
So anyway, that's our encouragement. I hope that if you start doing something like this, please send us a message on whatever it is, Instagram, email. We actually genuinely love hearing
Yeah.
when you do implement these things. If you want any like crock pot recipes or anything like that, I've got those too. So, all right. Catch
Love
you
you,
next
Wonder
week,
Great
Wonder
Fam.
Fam.
Thanks for tuning in for this episode of the 1 Degree Podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And we'd be so appreciative if you take just a few seconds to leave a rating and a quick review. We love to hear your feedback, and those ratings really do help make it easier for others to find this podcast.
And if you want to continue this chat or share your takeaways, we'd love to hear from you. Head on over to our Instagram at the 1 Degree Podcast and leave a comment or send us a DM. We can't wait to hear from you. Catch you next week, 1 Degree fam.